hope you guys understand my takes on the macro that have been outstanding. I called the top on the DXY, I called the top on oil. I told you guys that rates had peaked. I told you guys why Musk had bought Twitter. I told you guys that there wasn't going to be a recession on housing in Australia. I was the guy who called the death of the red pill. Like, I was the first that said that the field was fraudulent, that it was a pyramid scheme. I told you that there would be a soft recession in Europe specifically, and there is. Obviously, like, a lot of people around here have less money. The energy prices are still high. Rents are fucking crazy. Hey lads, first off, Happy New Year for each one of you guys. I appreciate the support, and Merry Christmas as well, because I wasn't on here. You see my Christmas decorations still up. I wasn't on here to say Merry Christmas to you guys. So what today's about, I'm going to talk about my group, which has already gone live now. So we've got 127 signups now, which is good. You know, it's been only up for less than a week. The group itself went live 2 days ago. It's still being expanded upon. But what I'm going to do is, it's still predominantly going to be a crypto group, but it's going to have me doing weekly members videos, and it's going to have me doing monthly like webinars where I can sit down and talk to the guys. I'll be able to see the members and things like that. So I look forward to being able to do that. You know, I like that the quality of the guys that are in there seem very good. Some of them I already know. Some of them, I believe, already at a high level in crypto themselves. So the fact that they put their trust behind me to learn my take or get my input on the markets, it means a lot. You know, I think the quality of the group is high, and it's been a good sign up, good turnout so far. So that's a good thing. But much like I said, I'm still going to keep pumping out my free content. I'm still going to continue to provide value for the guys who might not be able to afford to be in the group yet. You know, a lot of the stuff now is probably predominantly going to be crypto focused. You know, I'm still going to do my thing where I talk about women and talk about masculinity and things like that, and give my takes on what's missing in modern man, much like I've done before. But a lot of that stuff I've already done. You know, you can't just stand here and repeat yourself. Crypto is exciting because it's a fluid market. You know, you guys who are in my Telegram channel will see that I know the market like no one else. You know, it's not just shilling rug pulls or garbage. You know, I was already rich. When I started my course itself, or I started the group, I put $1 million in the wallet before anyone had ever even sent me a penny, because I already am wealthy. You know, that shit doesn't worry me. I was already rich before I started a group or sold anything online. I already had the Lambo, I already had the beautiful house, beautiful setup. I got 100K in front of me. So I'm already rich, you know, rich by anyone's measure, wealthy. So yes, I'm giving my take on the market. You guys can scroll back and see my predictions and things like that that I've made on YouTube, you know, for free. And they're very accurate. You know, if you listen to the Telegram, you'll see again that they're much more accurate in there, because it's easier to talk about crypto and things like that. And the market's getting very exciting with the ETF for Bitcoin. And I've told guys how this run will be different, this bull run. It'll be very institutional. It will be run with compliance focus. It will be an ETF run focused. So it'll be the changing of the guard from the OG crypto guys, the cartoon avatars, to the suits. Like, eventually over time, if it's not this cycle, it will be early next cycle. The suits will have their hand heavily into this market. Whether they keep the cartoon avatar characters around or not, maybe the entities will pay them to shill or be on their side. But if they can't pay them to control what they say, they'll be removed. They'll be gone. You know, you can't be a free speaker and things like that in that sort of a sector and have a massive audience without having sold out. The crypto market will be no different. You'll see crypto Twitter accounts and things like that that are funded by like large entities and things like that. It won't just be them shilling their own rug pulls. They'll actually be shilling certain platforms and things like that. They won't be able to have the free moments to speak like they can now. Their freedom of speech will be limited, like it is with all other influencers who have taken money, which is everyone who speaks, things like that. So where that leaves this channel, I think that you guys hope that a lot of you are in the Telegram announcement channel. If you guys like money, I've made $3 million in the last 4 months, you know, and that's just off my own calls in the crypto market. You know, I've made a lot of money on these runs. I was a lot of Moon River, and it's gone, 6 or 7x since I bought it, or maybe more, closer to 10x. I bought Toshi. It's up. I sold it at like a 7 or an 8x. You know, a lot of the other projects, again, that I've made money, it's unrealized gains. I have a lot of crypto. But again, I hope you guys understand my takes on the macro that have been outstanding. I told you guys that rates had peaked. I told you guys that why Musk had bought Twitter. I told you guys that there wasn't going to be a recession on housing in Australia. I told you guys that the markets on housing weren't going to crash. I have a lot of housing in Australia. I know that market like the back of my hand. So I told you guys a lot of the things that were different than the others. You know, I told you that there would be a soft recession in Europe specifically, and there is, obviously, like a lot of people around here have less money. The energy prices are still high. Rents are fucking crazy for the average Joe on the street. You know, rents in Warsaw are very high. You know, the rents have multiplied. You talk about like a 10 or a 20% increase. In my building, rents are up 3x where they were 2 years ago, where they were during the bug, or 2-3 years ago, where they were during the bug. So that's a big rise. You know, that's a big climb. That hurts a lot of people. I'm in the nicest building in the city, yes, but on the ground, the rents are still up like 100 or 200% in the last few years, and wage growth is slow. You know, so it's going to be a lot of changes. I think there'll be a lot of changes to Poland. I think Poland itself will probably move onto the euro, like the zloty itself. I don't think that it will be around in like 5 years' time or so. I think they'll get moved onto the euro. There's a lot of things happening. I think Poland's an interesting market in that the demographic and things like that will be changing, I would think. Like in the next 4 or 5 years, there's going to be a lot of changes in this place. So I think with change, there's always opportunity, things like that. I like Poland that it's very safe. I think the rest of Europe, not so much. So it will be interesting to see if it still stays in that sort of direction and what happens. So that's my take with this sort of stuff, lads. I'm going to keep my free content coming. I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys should be in my Telegram channel. I post about crypto, I post about making money, I post my ideas and sort of almost like memoirs throughout the day, concepts and things like that. I post around training, gym, women, I post things. With women, it's a little bit more controversial to talk about now. You know, talking about women or dating or like ideas around women, what they really enjoy and things like that. It can be risky. Like it's a controversial topic now. It's how people get cancelled. It's not just getting cancelled, like there can be consequences legally and things like that. Like talking about women, you can't do that easy. Women's the downfall of every guy, is that women can essentially Me Too people if they have issues with them, and they can do it from a very long time ago, specifically in the West. So you have to be cautious with that. You have to be cautious with women in general. That doesn't mean not having time for them and things like that, but it just means being a bit more careful than a lot of you guys probably are. And yeah, so that's going to be my take with all of this. I think that much like I've said with crypto, it's going to be an exciting year. I think this is going to be a turbulent year with a lot of volatility because there's elections, there's the ETF, there's the halving, there's US elections which are large, there's a lot of going to be rate cuts, and if they don't deliver them on the time and with the expectations or things like that, like energy can run hot again. There's a lot of stuff with wars and things like that affect the energy prices. Energy pushes up inflation, and you know they can slow down shipping, specifically around the Middle East and things like that, which again pushes up the price of freight, like logistics, so it pushes up inflation as well. So you have to be with a professional, like with an expert. My group, I am an expert. You know, I called the top on the DXY, I called the top on oil, called the gold run. I said that gold would go to 3K an ounce in the next, I still believe it, probably like the next 12 to 18 months. And I know for other markets, like that's pretty lame. You know, like the concept of like a 40 or 50% rise in gold, they're like, this sucks. And if it's in 18 months or 2 years even, but it's still good for gold. It's good. It's not meant to be, it's not meant to be a highly speculative asset. Although there is still some speculation there, because of course the speculation would be that the US dollar or something would collapse and people would move to gold. So there's definitely still some froth in gold. And especially when you have the talking heads like Schiff run around and tell everyone that the world's ending, of course it pushes froth into the metals markets. It's just not as much, not as much by a long shot. So, but they're still great assets. I'm still very, very bullish on them for the long term. Gold and silver, obviously you can't really print more of it. Asteroid mining is inevitable, but that could be 50 years down the pipe. So in the meantime, I think that it's still great product. But it's, of course, like anything, you have to stay aware, stay up to date, and stay liquid to a degree where you can also be able to jump on opportunities. I have a few M in cash position now, so that would be, maybe even 15% of my net worth is in cash. So I'm waiting to see some good opportunities come up. And lads, like I said, have a good new year. And I look forward to seeing you guys in even my free Telegram announcement channel. I post mostly on there. I look to probably do a few more podcasts this year, but a lot of the podcast stuff is like low value to me, like fighting with women and doing all this crap, because it doesn't help guys. It just gets attention by being controversial. It's actually very negative for the world. Like for guys, if you're just standing there yelling at women, or telling guys to be fearful of women, or scaring guys out of the market and doing like the Peter Schiff doomer crap. Like none of that stuff helps people. It's not realistic to have some neckbeard. Like I said, I was the guy who called the death of the red pill. Like I was the first that said that the field was fraudulent, that it was a pyramid scheme. It was designed to enrich the founders, like who'd started it. They'd monetized through different avenues, monetized off their audience. They weren't businessmen. Their whole business was the red pill. They weren't actually like doing anything productive before that, most of them. And they sold books and crap and things like that. And like, it's all depends on who you are. Like if you're Rolo, that fucking neckbeard, like your view of women is going to be very different to how my view of women are, because I've done the work. Like I have an impeccable frame around women. I don't deal with low value trash. I don't very rarely get shit tested and things like that, because I am that guy. I'm not running around talking about tricks and PUA garbage and all that sort of crap. The best ROI is just being who you say you are, like actually being that guy. So then you don't have to LARP. You don't have to fall apart and think, try and fuck around with little tricks. You don't have to sit and look at your phone for 3 hours and be like, oh, should I text her back? I'm just waiting, man. I'm just going to wait for this time frame to text her back. You just actually are fucking busy, or you have an abundance of women around you, so it doesn't matter. Like you're not sitting there panicking and things like that. Like I have an abundance of money. I don't sit here and fucking stress about money. Like I have shit tons of it and I don't care. My Lamborghini's downstairs. I don't think that I have to drive it every second or it's going to go away. I know that it will be there tomorrow, the week after, the month after. I'll buy another one, buy something else. I don't panic and check my bank account every 10 minutes because I know there's still millions of dollars in there. It's not something that I worry about. So that's my take with all of that stuff. A lot of it is very low value. A lot of the difference between a streamer and things like that, like a lot of those guys are just performing monkeys in a circus. That's their business, like standing on the pedestal, saying anything to keep people following them and keep people watching them. A lot of guys will cry about girls on OnlyFans and like girls being hoes and then do live streams with OnlyFans girls. Like you're sending your followers to follow their shit. Like that girl is only putting up with your talking to her like shit because she's gaining a lot of money because people are viewing her. That girl will say anything to go viral in a clip because then 10,000 she gets 10,000 new subs, even if the video makes her look like a fucking idiot, because it goes viral and gets 1 million views, and then people are like, oh, I want to see this girl's tits, and then she's got an OnlyFans conveniently, and I'll join up. So guys will watch that sort of stuff and don't realize that it may as well be as scripted as Jerry Springer. Like girls don't care if you'll talk to them like shit if they'll make a lot of money. Like, do you really think girls, when they go on shows or like streams or things like that, that people aren't joining them to view their fucking porn? Like, do you really believe that? That's why they're going on the fucking show. That's why they're willing to be talked to poorly, because they're making a lot of money. It's like a parasitic relationship. It goes both sides. One needs the other. It's part of the game. But one is condemning the other while also promoting them. Do you really think that that's good for society? Like one hand washes the other, and both hands wash the face. A lot of you guys don't really understand much. You know, it's so one-sided. You don't realize that often it's both sides that are exploiting the other. And creating that sort of an environment, like that dynamic wouldn't exist if not for the viewers, yes, but also the guys creating it, the content creators doing that sort of crap. And it's not good for society, you know, to enable that sort of stuff. It's very against, like, guys will claim to be conservatives or trads and things like that, and they're doing live streams with OnlyFans models. Like, that's completely fucking against anything traditional. You know, you should keep that shit in the dark. Anything, it's like a mushroom, like keep it in the dark away from an audience. Because the more audience something like that gets, the more visible it gets. Other people see it. Girls see it and be like, oh, this girl went viral with 1 million fucking followers from her clip where someone called her an idiot and kicked her out of a show. I want to be called an idiot and kicked out of a show if I got that much attention. Like, people don't realize that it's all monetized. Like, they make money off that sort of crap so they can look dumb. Like, some women will look fucking stupid if it means that they'll make tens of thousands of dollars or more. And the followers and things like that, the followers of these shows and stuff, they're the ones that are paying the price. Like, it's coming from their fucking money, like their budget. And I don't condemn, you know, obviously all of the shows. You know, I've sold drugs for a long time in the past, so I didn't think that, you know, I knew that if I didn't service that niche, someone else would have anyway. You know, I sold coke. I didn't sell any of the fentanyl or any of that crap that ruins people's lives. But coke in itself is not, it's still a drug that can fuck you up. It can be a gateway drug to take other things. It can still damage your heart and organs and things like that. So obviously it's not a good thing. So for me to sit here and say, guys creating like shows and that to profit off the back of porn actresses is not a good thing. It would be hypocritical. But for society, you can be the judge of that. And lads, so I look to see you guys in the group. Look to see you guys in at least the free announcement channel, and then you can get access to me and things like that. And I'll still be posting my takes on the market, things like that for you guys. But I'm not going to be doing a lot of this, like, you know, red pill, sort of like even breakdowns or those sort of concepts or things like that, because a lot of that stuff is low value. You know, there's one thing to actually deliver like value, like have substance. Like, if you join my group, you'll see that the guys have substance there. Like, their guys have value. They're not just fucking retards, like standing there hating people. Like, it's not, I'm not creating a battle drum for incels. You know, like, I'm not catering to your like hatred of a certain cause. Some guys just profit off men's hatred of women. And the worst thing about these guys that say they hate women, like I said over a year ago, they don't actually hate them. That's the craziest thing. They're just shit with them, and their life is shit. Like, it's not, they don't live an attractive life. Because I've dealt with many of these guys, and even as a guy, to talk to them is fucking difficult. You know, so a lot of them don't want to do the work on themselves, and it's easier to just commiserate in a group or something and just be bums together and cope and convince each other you guys made a smart decision by withdrawing from women or things like that. But a lot of you guys, like, you didn't withdraw from women, you're just rejected by them. So it's very different. You know, so it's one thing to be able to drive my Lambo and choosing not to, but I have a Lambo downstairs. And it's another to say I hate Lambos when I've never even driven one or I don't have one. Like, a lot of that stuff is cope. You know, it's hate what you can't have. It's the story of the rabbit with the fruit, the grapes. And he jumps several times and fails every time. And then he eventually convinces himself that the juiciest grapes, which are at the top, were shit. And they were terrible anyway, and you didn't actually want them. A lot of people live their whole life like that. Like, it's an old fable, but it's obviously still very relevant today. And lads, for you guys that are doing the work, and, you know, you're not commiserating and patting each other on the back for mediocrity, I respect that. You know, a lot of you guys met a bunch of guys from the channel, and a lot of you guys are very respectable. Like, you know, you might not be perfect in all avenues, but you're still moving in a good direction. And I enjoy meeting guys and things like that. And guys come up to me, even if guys ask for photos and things like that. You guys will see that I don't think anyone has a bad interaction with me. You know, I'm always a nice person, I think, as long as I'm like a mirror. You know, I'm not a guy full of bravado or any of that crap. If you're nice to me and respectful, I'll be respectful back. I've got no reason not to be. So, lads, I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year, and let's get some money. Let's get it done.